sense. Meaning I'm in Master Jinshi's bedroom. The question is, how did I end up here?
Oh, good. So you're finally awake then. Don't push yourself. Your leg needed.
Hey guys, welcome back to Anime Sensei Reaction. Last episode continued pushing Mao deeper into the dangerous politics of the Imperial Palace, even though she still wants nothing more than a quiet life studying medicine and poisons. We saw another case where her intelligence helped uncover hidden details behind suspicious events in the rear palace, while Jinshi kept placing trust in her judgment over everyone else around him. The atmosphere between the different consorts and palace factions also continues feeling tense, especially whenever rumors or accidents begin spreading through the court. One thing I'm loving about this series is how every investigation slowly reveals more about the people hiding behind elegant titles and appearances. For episode 20, I'm expecting another serious mystery with political consequences, and honestly, I feel like Mao may be getting dangerously close to uncovering secrets powerful people want buried forever. Let's continue.
15 stitches. Master Jinshi said you should heal up here, since it's infinitely better than the infirmary. Here, drink this.
I appreciate your help.
Sorry to ask when you just woke up, but can you dress? I want to bring everybody in.
I'll need a minute, please.
What in the world is going on? Vasa, stop.
A normal reaction considering his master almost died. All the same, I don't think I deserve to be yelled at. Apologies for my lack of manners.
No need to worry. Now then, there's the small matter of how you ended up there, and how you had deduced that the pillar was about to fall. I was hoping you would explain.
More than happy to. The event was caused by multiple coincidences converging. However, based on the evidence, I am convinced each of them was intentionally linked, which would make it a conspiracy rather than some unfortunate accident. The first coincidence, Master Conan's death. He was a high-ranking official placed on the Board of Rites last year. And then the second, a fire at one warehouse, and the simultaneous theft of ceremonial implements at another. And finally, the manager of the ceremonial tools falling ill due to food poisoning around the same time.
So what you're saying is, those events were all orchestrated by someone?
Most likely, yes. And there is one more factor we should be considering as well.
Which is?
The stolen tools themselves. During the ceremony, the pillar above the altar was held up by wires and fixed onto the floor with metal parts. If the goal was to make it look like an act—
The moment Mao opened her eyes again, consciousness returned slowly, like someone rising from the bottom of a deep river. Before she even recognized the ceiling above her, a familiar fragrance drifted into her senses. Sandalwood, soft, calming, refined in a way that instantly separated this room from the noisy clutter of the medical quarters. The scent lingered in the fabric around her, in the air itself, and it carried memories of countless mornings spent dusting shelves, organizing medicine trays, and quietly observing the strange beauty of the rear palace from the shadows. As her vision steadied, she realized she already knew this room without needing confirmation. The arrangement of the furniture, the careful placement of incense burners, the muted elegance of the curtains, even the way sunlight slipped through the paper screens at a precise angle, it all belonged to one person. She was inside the private chambers of Jinshi. A faint ache surged through her leg the instant she tried to move. The pain was sharp enough to stop her immediately. Before she could attempt anything else, Suiren appeared beside her as though she had been waiting the entire time for Mao to awaken. Her voice remained gentle, but there was no room for argument in it. Mao was ordered to stay still. The wound on her leg had not been a simple cut. The flesh had torn deeply enough to require 15 stitches, and if she moved carelessly, the injury could reopen. Only then did Mao fully remember the chaos of the ritual. The collapsing structure, the heat, the sound of snapping metal. Jinshi standing dangerously close to death. Suiren explained that Jinshi himself had arranged for her transfer here rather than leaving her in the Imperial Medical Office. Recovery inside the rear palace would be quieter, more discreet, and easier to monitor. It was a level of consideration Mao Mao didn't entirely know how to process. She wasn't accustomed to being treated as someone worth protecting. Days passed before she was finally well enough to walk with assistance. Even then, each step
Accident. Then naturally, you would target those fixtures.
Even if someone did steal those parts, replacements would have been constructed.
I know, and that's precisely what occurred. Since they're used in ceremonies, no doubt the design was overly elaborate. I can think of one artisan who would have been assigned the job.
The metal worker who passed away?
That's right. As for the stolen pieces, they were reconstructed by the skilled artisan. And what if those parts were designed to break when exposed to heat?
We're talking about metal, idiot! It doesn't melt if it's been just...
Not under usual circumstances, but with that secret technique, just being near an open flame would have been enough.
Now you're saying the metal worker was involved in this elaborate conspiracy too?
No, I'm convinced he was ignorant of the plot and simply built the metal parts as ordered. Perhaps he was shown them and asked to construct replicas, but to use the special metal he was known for. If an accident had occurred soon after, the metal worker would be suspicious. But if you eliminate him beforehand, nothing's left to chance. The customer's identity and the process of making the alloy stay secret, which would be ideal for the mastermind.
So you're saying someone had him killed?
I can't say that for sure. But perhaps it might have been a crime disguised to look like an accident. More importantly, whoever this mysterious customer was who commissioned the replacement parts, they must have been aware of the master's technique. And that's the extent of what I know.
I understand.
Anyway, I never expected Master Jinshi was going to be present at the ceremony. If it had continued as planned. Who is this man, really? Because someone went out of their way to kill him using such a complicated scheme. Knowing would only land me in...
reminded her how close things had come to disaster. Eventually, she was escorted into a gathering where Jinshi, Gaoshan, Basin, and several others were already waiting. The atmosphere inside the room carried a silent pressure. Everyone present wanted answers. Mao Mao, however, showed little emotion as she settled herself down. At first, she spoke calmly, almost casually, saying that the events surrounding the ritual could easily be mistaken for terrible coincidence. A chain of unrelated incidents overlapping at the worst possible moment. But the more she explained, the more the mood in the room shifted. Her words gradually peeled away the illusion of randomness until something far uglier began to emerge beneath it. Because coincidences that perfect rarely existed. She began with the death of Lord Horan the previous year. At the time, nobody had connected it to anything larger. It had simply been accepted as another unfortunate event within the endless machinery of court politics. Then came the theft of ritual offerings, occurring alongside the warehouse fire. After that, the official responsible for managing those offerings suddenly became bedridden from food poisoning at exactly the wrong moment. Each event by itself appeared harmless enough. Irritating, perhaps suspicious, but still explainable. Together, though, they formed a pattern too carefully aligned to ignore. The room grew quieter as Mao Mao continued dissecting the incident piece by piece. She described the structure used during the ceremony itself. The great pillar had been suspended by metal wires running through pulleys near the ceiling before being secured below using a metal connecting joint. Under ordinary circumstances, the mechanism would have been stable. Unless someone wanted it to fail. Basin frowned immediately at the suggestion. If such an important piece had disappeared, it would obviously have been replaced. Nobody overseeing a sacred ritual would neglect something so essential. Mao Mao acknowledged the point without hesitation. Of course it would have been replaced. But ritual...
more trouble. It's got nothing to do with me.
Shall Xiao Mao.
Yes?
There's someone to see you.
We dug around. Turns out a court lady named Suide had something to do with this.
No surprise there.
We won't get much out of her, though.
Huh?
An officer of justice entered her room, but she had already taken poison. The doctors have finished with their examination and confirmed that she is dead.
So what happens next, then?
Apparently, they're going to be cremating her corpse tomorrow, coffin and all.
Any co-conspirators?
There is nobody else. It was just Suide.
She managed to pull off all those complicated steps by herself?
Well, anyway, the mystery's been solved. I'll see you.
She took poison and died. Is it really that simple? No. More importantly, was Suide even the type to commit suicide? The way she acted, apathetic and unemotional, was it because she had no future? But the way she spoke, like she was testing me. I will be planting morning glories here. Resurrection medicine. It'll kill me not knowing. I have to be sure. Master Jinshi, I have an urgent request.
Yes? What is it?
If possible, I'd like to speak to the doctor, the one who had examined the corpse.
Equipment couldn't simply be repaired with any random piece of metal. Ceremonial objects demanded proper craftsmanship. The replacement needed to look appropriate, carry symbolic beauty, and match the dignity of the ritual itself. That requirement drastically narrowed the number of people capable of producing such a component. The realization crossed Jinshi's face before anyone else spoke it aloud. The artisan who recently died. Mao Mao nodded faintly and continued. During the ceremony, parts of the structure would naturally be exposed to intense heat from nearby flames. If the connecting joint had been positioned correctly, the fire itself could become the trigger. Basin objected again. Metal did not simply melt apart under ordinary conditions. But even as he argued, memory caught up to him. The strain, melted lock from the earlier incident involving the same metalworker. Mao Mao noticed immediately. A specialized alloy, she explained, could change everything. If different metals were mixed in precise proportions, the resulting material could possess a melting point far lower than expected. Low enough that prolonged exposure to heat during the ritual could weaken the joint until catastrophic collapse became inevitable. Not random destruction, engineered destruction. The horrifying elegance of the plan slowly settled over everyone present. The ritual platform had essentially been designed as a delayed weapon. No assassin standing nearby. No visible sabotage at the scene. Just heat, timing, and physics working exactly as intended. But Mao Mao did not believe the artisan had conceived such a scheme himself. Someone else had almost certainly ordered the work. And once suspicion naturally focused on the craftsman, his death would conveniently erase both the commissioner and the secret behind the alloy. Whether the artisan's death had been arranged or merely exploited afterward remained uncertain. Still, the possibility of murder lingered heavily over the entire affair. For a moment, Mao Mao stopped speaking. She had reached the limit.
Over at the morgue, please.
What's with that huge grin?
I'm overwhelmed with curiosity.
There's no need for you to enter the room with her, Master Jinshi.
Where the apothecary goes, so will I.
Naturally. Xiao Mao, over here.
Much appreciated.
My apologies for making you wait.
I knew this doctor did the examination. A court lady he seemed close to is dead, and she's accused of serious crimes. No wonder he's worn out. But is that really all? So allow me to be blunt with you. The poison the lady had ingested, did it happen to contain the ingredient thorn apple?
Let me think.
There's a small hill located near the stable. Did she not cultivate thorn apple there? It has a strong poison, but in the right amounts, it works as an anesthetic. I'm sure the pharmacy has plenty in stock. When first observed, the flower looks like a white morning glory.
I am aware of the plant. It's quite likely given her symptoms, but I can't say with absolute certainty.
Let's find out, and confirm with our own eyes.
Stop! What are you...
Would you shut up and just watch?
You're disturbing the dead!
Take a look.
Sweetie, that isn't her! It can't be! I swear, I saw her body myself.
And you are
Of what deduction alone could safely support. Anything further would drift into dangerous territory, and dangerous knowledge inside the palace rarely led to long lives. Even so, another question continued scratching at the back of her mind. Why had Jin Shi attended the ritual personally? The scale of the conspiracy implied that the intended victim held extraordinary importance. Someone valuable enough to justify years of preparation and multiple deaths. The more she considered it, the less comfortable the answer became. And so, like many things within the palace, she deliberately chose not to think too deeply about it. Soon after, Lee Haku arrived carrying new information. The female official involved in the incident had indeed been Suiri, exactly as Mao Mao suspected. But before authorities from the Ministry of Justice could properly interrogate her, they discovered her already dead inside her room, apparently having committed suicide by poison. Her corpse had already been sealed inside a coffin. Cremation was scheduled for the next day since criminals were denied proper burial rites. As far as the authorities were concerned, the matter was finished. Mao Mao disliked the conclusion immediately. Something about Suiri refused to fit the image of a woman surrendering quietly. During their encounter, Suiri had spoken almost playfully, provoking Mao Mao rather than fearing exposure. Her words carried strange confidence, especially when she mentioned a so-called resurrection medicine. A person fascinated by such a thing did not sound like someone preparing to die. That suspicion refused to leave Mao Mao alone. Eventually, she approached Jin Shi with a request. Permission to inspect Suiri's body personally. The morgue greeted her with cold silence and the unpleasant heaviness unique to places filled with death. The imperial physician assigned to the case arrived late, and Mao Mao recognized him instantly. He was the same doctor who had previously supplied medicine to Suiri. Their interactions back then...
Certain that it was Suire's?
There's no way I could have mistaken her for somebody else. She had passed on. Her heart was silent. She looked so pristine.
In other words, she used your feelings for her to exploit you. I'm willing to bet you never once thought to cut her open and find out what poison she used. Suire read you like an open book.
You shut your mouth!
I'm positive Thornapple wasn't the only ingredient that she took. If we investigate the drug stocks at the pharmacy, we should be able to tell what else she used. Honestly, I suppose the doctor's sole crime is failing to keep track of his supplies.
I'm still confused. Why switch bodies in the first place?
Even if the coffin was supposed to be burned, it would be suspicious if it was empty. She must have placed another corpse inside a new coffin to replace her own. No one would have ever noticed.
The question is, who moved Suire's corpse? Carrying it out would have caused a scene.
There's no reason to go through the trouble.
Meaning what?
She was more than capable of walking out on her own.
But wasn't she dead?
There's a certain drug that can make a person appear lifeless. Are you aware of it?
There have been rumors, but it's nothing more than fantasy.
And what have you heard?
Only that the drug is said to exist in a faraway land. It can kill a person, and later resurrect them as if nothing ever happened. I don't know the details, but I've heard thornapple and pufferfish are used as ingredients.
Something wrong?
Master Gaoxuan, would you be kind enough to investigate the empty coffins?
Yes. Oh, there are nail holes.
That must have been the one Suire was actually waiting inside of. By the time our rescuers
had seemed unusually familiar, suggesting a personal connection beyond ordinary professional contact. Now the physician looked exhausted and deeply unsettled. Grief explained part of it, but not all of it. Mao questioned him carefully about the poison involved in Suire's supposed suicide. More specifically, she asked whether Datura had been present. The physician hesitated uncertainly. Datura grew near the herb garden behind the stables. While highly poisonous, it could also serve as an anesthetic in controlled amounts. His uncertainty only sharpened Mao's suspicion. Without waiting for permission, she produced a hairpin she had prepared earlier and forced open the coffin lid herself. The moment the lid shifted aside, the atmosphere shattered. The corpse inside was not Suire. Shock spread across the room instantly. The physician stared in disbelief, insisting he could not possibly have mistaken another woman for Suire. When he last saw her, even in death, her beauty remained unmistakable. But Mao had already pieced together the truth. The physician had been manipulated from the beginning. Suire likely understood that his personal attachment would prevent him from performing a thorough autopsy. Emotional hesitation created the perfect blind spot. As long as the poison remained insufficiently examined, the truth behind her condition would stay hidden. And the poison itself had not been ordinary. Mao explained that if investigators checked the medicine stores carefully enough, they could likely determine what substances were missing. Still, even if blame fell upon the physician, negligence would probably be the harshest accusation against him. Jinshi asked the obvious quest. Ion, how had a corpse swap even been possible? Mao answered calmly. If the coffin had been cremated empty, suspicion would arise immediately. Therefore, another body had to replace Suire's temporarily. As for Suire herself, transporting a corpse had never been necessary. Because she had never actually
the morgue and removed the lid. She'd come back to life. They set up a different coffin with another corpse to replace it, then disguised her as a vendor and walked out.
You would have to be out of your mind employing such a risky method.
If she had been caught, she would have been executed anyway. I'd take the same risk, no question.
I know, but for pleasure more than anything.
Considering there's no sign of her anywhere, I would say Suire's gambit paid off in the end. If we waited another day, this body would have been burnt and her victory would have been complete. Not happening on my watch. If she's still alive, I'd love to meet her. The two of us have to converse. Imagine the intellect it took to make so many crimes look like accidents. The courage needed to pull it off. Most of all, the nerves of steel it required to put her own life on the line and deceive us all. The real crime is for someone that crafty to die so soon. I'll learn how to make that elixir. She'll teach me willingly or I'll force her. Pardon.
What is it?
Can we get my leg stitched up again? I believe the wound reopened.
Why didn't you mention that earlier?
Lady Lulan.
In the end, we kept the Suire incident under wraps. But a great many things about her still remain unclear. According to the doctor, she received backing through his teacher. A few years ago, he took note of her talents.
Died. Silence swallowed the room. Then Mao revealed the existence of a drug mixture capable of inducing a death-like state. She had never personally witnessed its use before, but foreign medical texts collected by her father described similar compounds. The mixture combined datura with pufferfish toxin. In carefully controlled proportions, the poisons counteracted one another in bizarre ways, slowing bodily functions until the victim appeared completely dead before eventually reviving later. To confirm her theory, she instructed Gaoshan to inspect the remaining coffins. Before long, evidence appeared. One coffin bore marks showing it had been nailed open from the inside. Suiri's escape route. The entire plan unfolded vividly in everyone's imagination after that. Suiri entered the false death state, was sealed away, waited patiently until attention shifted elsewhere, emerged from hiding, replaced the coffin occupant, disguised herself among laborers, and escaped unnoticed before cremation. The sheer boldness of it bordered on insanity. Jinshi remarked quietly that the risk had been enormous. Ma Mao merely shrugged. If Suiri had remained, execution was guaranteed anyway. A reckless gamble offered the only possible path to survival. Under similar circumstances, Ma Mao admitted she might have attempted something equally desperate. And now, with the fake corpse prepared for cremation, Suiri had effectively erased herself from existence. Officially, she would be remembered as dead forever. Yet instead of frustration, excitement slowly spread across Mao Mao's expression. She wanted to meet Suiri again. Not to arrest her, not even to expose her. She wanted to understand her. A woman capable of designing such layered deception fascinated Ma Mao beyond reason. The ritual conspiracy, the manipulation of investigators, the staged death, the resurrection drug, Suiri's mind moved in ways Ma Mao found irresistibly compelling. More importantly, Ma Mao
and adopted her as his daughter. Not much is known about her before then. This is going to take a long time.
I made sure Xiaomao got back home.
Sorry to trouble you.
We can't afford to let her wound open up again.
No. But it's not just her leg I'm worried about. There's also the matter with that weirdo, Lacan. It's clear that he's her father, but there is notable friction between them, given the apothecary's attitude. So, the rear palace tomorrow?
Yes. There are no issues. It's the same as always.
In other words, it tastes bad.
If you don't like it, don't force yourself to drink it.
It's my obligation, my duty as a eunuch.
Well, if you wish to appear older, then you shouldn't hold your nose when in public. It makes you seem like a child, sir.
Yes, I'm aware. The refined mannerisms, heavenly smiles, voice like honey, all a disguise. When the current emperor inherited the rear palace, Jinshi, this 24-year-old man, became a eunuch. That was 5 years ago. Since then, I've decided to wear a mask. Every day, I drink this to suppress my manhood.
Keep taking it, and one day you will become impotent.
Hey, the same goes for you!
All of my children are grown adults. Actually, I've been blessed with a new grandchild.
So your eldest went and made you a grandfather?
Yes, my youngest son is ready to be married too, but...
Youngest, as in Basan? The boy's only 19.
That's right. 19, just like you. Or did you forget?
Jinshi the eunuch is 24 years old. I know the look you're giving me all too well.
Mao desperately wanted the formula for that medicine. Her growing enthusiasm became unsettling enough that even the people around her looked disturbed. To them, Suiri represented danger. To Ma Mao, she represented mystery. That night, while the palace gradually settled into uneasy quiet, Jinshi remained awake with too many thoughts weighing on him. Officially, the case had concluded. Unofficially, nothing truly felt resolved. The physician had revealed that his mentor once acted as Suiri's guardian after discovering her remarkable intelligence. Beyond that, however, Suiri's past dissolved into uncertainty. Where she originated from, who taught her, how she gained access to such unusual knowledge, none of it had clear answers. And then there was Ma Mao herself. Jinshi could not stop thinking about her injury, nor the strange tension surrounding her connection to Lacan. Every interaction between them hinted at deeper complications buried beneath the surface. Lacan's interest in her felt dangerous in ways Jinshi could not fully articulate. The following morning, Jinshi and Gaoshan prepared to return to the rear palace. Before entering, both drank the unpleasant concoction used to suppress masculine characteristics and maintain Jinshi's identity as a eunuch. 5 years had passed since he adopted the disguise, yet the medicine's taste remained unbearable. Gaoshan, on the other hand, swallowed it with practiced indifference. Age and experience probably helped. He already had 3 grown children, and a grandchild would soon arrive as well. Even Basin, the youngest, had reached 19 years old, an age suitable for marriage. The comparison naturally shifted toward Jinshi. Officially, Jinshi was 24. Though even that identity itself was partly constructed. Gaoshan subtly suggested that perhaps it was time for Jinshi to think about taking a wife someday, about eventually leaving behind this artificial existence. But Jinshi's life had never belonged entirely to himself. Gaoshan had raised him since childhood.
Well, you want me to find a wife and end this work, don't you?
I would like to have some time with my grandchild.
I'll do my best.
How are you, Master Jinshi?
Much better after seeing this new outfit of yours.
You are truly kind. Before we
While the Emperor sees concubine Lolan often, he doesn't find her very appealing. She is quite fashionable, altering her hairstyle and makeup often, to the point where he can't tell who she is every time he visits, and is left confused. He still arranges to meet with her once every 10 days. The concubine's father happens to be an important high-ranking official and the previous Empress Dowager's favorite. He needs to be careful around her. Concubine Li Shu is in a similar situation. The current emperor despises his predecessor's taste for younger girls, and has no intention of laying a finger on her. The Empress Dowager who gave birth to the current emperor when she was just a girl, also gave birth to another child. This was 10 odd years later. At the time, the doctor was by her side continuously. Naturally, the birth took place without incident. However, concubine Adwa was with child at around the same time and received no attention. As a result, she lost her womb, and the current emperor lost his firstborn soon after. But what if that child had survived? Nothing but a silly dream. He should simply father a new crown prince already.
You're here. Sorry for my state.
Pardon me for saying so, but you seem exhausted.
Come on, ladies. Get back to work. All of you.
Of course, ma'am.
Childhood. Gaoshan's wife had served as his wet nurse. They were not merely attendants. They were family in every meaningful sense. The complicated bonds surrounding his birth, identity, and responsibilities made ordinary happiness feel strangely distant. Later, while visiting the palace of consort Lulan, Jinshi reflected on the emperor's behavior toward the consort. Despite frequent visits, genuine affection seemed absent. Political necessity likely explained far more than romance ever did. Lulan's father possessed enormous influence, making neglect politically impossible regardless of personal feelings. Within the palace, relationships rarely existed for simple reasons. At the same time, new rumors quietly spread through the rear palace corridors. Gyokuyu consort had apparently missed her monthly cycle. The possibility of pregnancy immediately changed everything. The emperor's favored consort bearing a child would alter the balance of influence across the palace overnight. Upon hearing the news, Jinshi wasted little time. He sought out Mao personally and requested her return to the rear palace to serve Gyokuyu once again. Mao listened calmly, though inwardly the familiar thrill had already begun returning. Life within the rear palace was dangerous, exhausting, and endlessly complicated. But it was also where she felt most alive. The thought of once again testing meals for poison, uncovering hidden schemes, and navigating the invisible tensions flowing beneath palace life stirred excitement she could never fully suppress. So she accepted. And as Mao stepped back toward the glittering maze of the rear palace once more, it felt less like returning home and more like walking willingly back into the mouth of something hungry. Somewhere beyond the palace walls, Suiri still lived. Somewhere within the palace itself, Unseen enemies continued moving pieces across the board. And Mao Mao, driven equally by curiosity and recklessness, walked directly toward whatever waited next.
The truth is... So I'm needed there?
Indeed. It seems concubine Gyokyo's lunar cycle has stopped.
Lunar cycle. In other words, she might be pregnant. When shall I return?
Are you able to start today?
Yes.
I'm counting on you.
This could work out for me. Men aren't allowed entrance into the rear palace, meaning there's no chance I'd run into that man whose name I can't even say. I wonder if Master Jinshi is looking out for me. At any rate, I get to taste for poisons again.
Oh my, someone is in a good mood.
Me? No, not at all.
It's unfortunate. Just when I finally found a girl worth my rigorous training, she's leaving us. What a shame.
And so I returned to life in the rear palace. Nothing much has changed. I'm still tasting for poisons every day. It's safe to eat. Besides the pause in her cycle, there's no evidence yet. Between this and the events with concubine Adwo, perhaps he's more than just a lecherous old man. He no longer has concubine Adwo as a trusted advisor. She's been replaced by a quirky girl who could cause the Emperor a political headache. He can't ignore her, but it would cause trouble if she birthed a child. The entire thing sounds like a nightmare.
Hey, did you hear? What? One of the three princesses. The rumor is that some man is going to buy her out.
Bought out? Who?
Next time, how to buy out a contract.
Alright, everyone, that is for today's reaction on Anime Sensei Reaction. Thank you for so much for watching and spending your time with me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notification so you won't miss any the you won't miss the next reaction. Let me know your true favorite moment and break it down in the comment because I always love reading what you guys think. We still have a lot of amazing anime moments, crazy battle, emotional scene, and unexpected trip coming soon on the channel. I truly appreciate all the support and I can't wait to watch more anime together with you all. Take care everyone and I will see you in the next reaction video.